Hey everyone, I'm Fred Ranger and I hope you're doing good. I hope you're safe, I hope you're staying creative. And if you are interested in creativity and the gear we use to tell our stories in this day and age, please consider subscribing to this channel. I do the occasional gear review, but not the gear reviews about the specs and so on. I like to go out and shoot the cameras. As a matter of fact, this camera right here, thanks to Fujifilm Canada, the GFX100s, I've been able to test it over the past month. So again, it's more than just shooting it for 24 hours or a couple days. I'm actually putting these cameras through the test and I'm coming back to you with my impressions. I also do the occasional travel vlog, but not a lot of that lately, although we've been able to go out to Charlevoix and Saguenay. This is where I've been able to test this bad boy a lot. So without further ado, let's just deep dive into the camera, the things I like, the things I would improve in the next version, and also some of the stuff that I would recommend for people getting into the medium format cameras. So there it is, the GFX100s. This is a beautiful camera. If you look at it, I mean, it doesn't even scream that it's a medium format camera. Yes, it is bigger than an X-T4, which I'm filming on right now. But if you look at the form factor, the actual grip reminds me of the X-H1, and that's the first point I want to make about this camera, is that it is so comfortable for a medium format camera. Yes, it is a bit on the heavy side, again, depending on the lens that you attach it or that you're using. I'm using it with the 80mm f1.7 magnificent lens for portrait and environmental portrait, and also I tested it with the 45-100. This is the zoom lens, beautiful lens. Also, this is an f4 lens, great all-around lens. But to go back to the ergo of this camera, I thought that this was one of the best grip that I've been able to use. I've used the GFX50R, which was not a great grip. I understand that they wanted to go with a range format style or look on the camera and the form factor, but I prefer having this beautiful grip. I do have big hands, so if you do have big hands, you will appreciate the grip on the GFX100s. The other thing that I really enjoyed with this camera is the flip screen. Yes, I thought that I would not be a big fan several years ago. Now I think I'm dependent on it when on those cameras. But this is literally copied from the XT series. So you look at your flipping up screen, you can tilt it like that if you want to do shots like that and be able to tilt the camera and still see the screen. And they've added this beautiful vertical tilting up option on the screen, and that offers you a great opportunity to be able to see your shots when you're shooting from lower angle and that you're doing the portrait orientation. So for me, the screen, which is also very high res, I mean, you don't have a choice with such an high res camera. You want to have a very good screen. I really enjoyed the screen. I really enjoyed the viewfinder. I thought it was actually better than in the GFX50R. So for that reason, I prefer the viewfinder on the GFX100s. And also, I really like this top information screen here, because you can actually see your histogram. You can also see some of the other information when you scroll through, like this right now. Oh, I'm gonna put it on the other side. Right now, I am seeing my shutter speed and my f-stop, ISO, and the mode that I'm on. So very, very good top dial here. Again, reminds me of the X-H1, but on a medium format camera. The other thing that I really liked about this camera is the actual button, so you can really customize this camera to your liking. I have my eye autofocus right here, right next to the shutter. I programmed it like that. And then the other one here, I just took a photo. And the other one, I have it set to my white balance. So again, you can customize that as you wish. I really enjoyed also the joystick in the back, so I thought that this was a great addition here on this camera. I don't think the GFX50R had it, or if it had it, it had like a small one. This one is bigger, this one is more tactile. I really enjoyed that. So the way they laid out the button, maybe the Q button is in a weird place though, that I don't ended up using it as much as on other cameras like the XT series, but I quite enjoy the layout of the buttons in the back, on the top, and also the dials. You do have a dial to select your mode here. You don't have an ISO dial. The ISO can be assigned to another button in the back or on the top. But what you will be able to do is do your exposure compensation by hitting that little button here, and then by switching with your back dial. So you'll be able to do the same thing as if it was an exposure compensation dial, which it doesn't have also because, again, they decided to go with that screen on the top, and also those two customizable buttons, and also the switch, which is very appreciated, that movie and still switch, which brings all of your memory settings in the memory from movie or from stills back right on the camera. One thing I will say is that at the end of the day, this camera produces superb image quality. Those are probably the best files I've ever seen on the digital side. And I mean, yeah, there is a price tag to it. I mean, this camera is I think it's $8,000 at the moment. It is cheaper than some other medium format options when you think about Phase 1 and some similar megapixel camera. But for me, the lens selection on the Fujifilm ecosystem is what makes it a very affordable, on bracket, medium format system. You'll still have to go, maybe above the 10K mark to get a kit that will follow you around, but still it's more affordable than the $20,000, $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 that some other formats or camera brands would require for you to jump into the medium format. So for me, this is a great way to enter the medium format if you do have the cash. If not, this will not make you a better photographer for sure. But I want to show you a couple images I took with this camera. So I was at the farm. It's a hotel and a farm. It's called Le Germain in Charlevoix, and I was able to test this camera in different light situation and also with those two lenses. So this is again the what is it again? The 45 to 100 f4, and also the I think this is the best lens on the planet, the 80 millimeter f1.7. If you are interested in anything shallow depth of field on medium format, this 1.7 is beautiful. So let's just roll that little clip, and then we'll come back and talk about some of the things that I think this camera is bringing to the market, and also who is it for? GFX100s, and I must admit that for these shooting conditions right here, which are very nice, sun coming in, and also some pretty cool animals. We're staying on a farm in Quebec. It's called Le Germain. I invite everyone to go visit. It's a pretty cool experience. You're on a hotel, pretty high end, but at the same time you're on a farm in rural Quebec. So very, very cool place. But hey, got some pretty cool shot with this bad boy, the GFX100s. Thank you, Fujifilm Canada, for letting me test this bad boy. Some pretty cool shots that I'm going to show you in this video. So please let me know which one's your favorite, and maybe I'll do a print because might as well when you have 102. I think that's the official count megapixel. Might as well just go ahead and print the work, and maybe I'll send one of these to you guys if you do have a favorite. So let me know. GFX100s, getting some pretty cool shot of, you know, the sun is just on this little barn here. You've got the animals that are there, and the sky is just beautiful sky. So hey, when you've got beautiful sky like that, gotta take out the camera. Here's the shot that I'm working on. I don't know if you can see that. Can I zoom on it? Yeah. So there you have it, guys. So this is the Fujifilm GFX100s. I've been testing it for the past few days. I'm on a trip here in Quebec, in Charlevoix, in Baie-Saint-Paul, actually, that's the precise region, and we were in Saguenay-Lac-Saint-Jean not that long ago. So very cool to be able to test this medium format camera. I've tested the GFX50R. I liked it, but the format was a bit weird. I tested the GFX100, the original one, which was way too big, but very good camera. But now I think this, they've got it down to a very decent size. I'll do a full review on it, but right now it's all about the photos, and I'm loving the feel and the look that I'm getting from this medium format camera. So let's keep on shooting. So I hope you enjoyed the images. So I want to talk about the fact that this is definitely not a beginner or a starter camera. You kind of have to be ready to make the jump into medium format, and here's why. I mean, right now I'm used to shooting 64 gigabyte cards, and for this specific camera, you will need some 188 minimum, I think, files. If you shoot RAW plus JPEG, or if you shoot uncompressed RAW, you will have to have bigger cards and fast cards, because again, this is 100 megapixel reading a full frame sensor writing to the card. You won't also use this camera if you are into sport photography. This is not a sport photography, although it is, you know, pretty decent in terms of the frames per second for a medium format camera. Don't forget, it has to read and write on a full-blown medium format sensor. So for me, it is a stills camera that is more suited for the portraits and landscapes and probably street photography at some point. I mean, this is definitely more portable than the GFX100, like the original GFX100 or any other medium format cameras. So I would see some street photographer wanted the best image quality, but again, mostly portrait. Weddings also is something that I think this camera would thrive. And I know that some of my friends like Take Kayo is saying that 100 megapixel is actually too much, and I kind of agree with him, and I like his train of thought here. So if you want to jump into medium format, 100 megapixel again is a commitment, because you will have to upgrade your cards, upgrade your hard drives, probably update your computer, because it takes a lot of CPU power to process those files. I mean, in Lightroom, you'll get the beach ball if you try to do some crazy stuff, or if you try to load too many images, or just going through the images or applying some of these effects in Lightroom. Again, you might need an M1 computer shortly, or a, you know, very fast PC. So the clever thing is, maybe you want to wait for the refresh of the GFX50S or the 50R for that matter. I don't know which one will come out. I'm not affiliated with the Fujifilm engineering and product roadmap. But one thing that I would say is that 50 megapixel on a medium format like these cameras is beautiful also. I mean, I'm gonna throw a couple shots that I've took with the 50R and I'm pretty you know, excited by, and also I think this is way more than enough with 50 megapixel. My Leica Q2 have 47 megapixel. I'm already finding that those files are heavy and they're hard to process on the computer. So so again, maybe the clever thing is, if you want to jump into medium format, you might want to wait for that 50, or actually you might want to buy a 50S or 50R. Those are older cameras and the processor is a little bit less you know, fast and processes the information a little bit slower, but hey, those are still magnificent image quality cameras, and this one might be more for the professional photographer. Product photography is something that will thrive through that camera. If you want that sharp detail, if you're doing, I don't know, sneakers, watches, and so on, you want to be able to get that crisp, sharp photo. If you're printing billboards for advertising campaign, again, this might be just the camera that you're looking for. And if you want to set yourself apart, right? So if you want to set yourself apart from other full frame shooters or crop sensor shooter, this has a look. Trust me, I have, as you saw in the photos that I just rolled on this video, there's a certain three-dimensional look to it. And again, you can achieve anything with any lens and any camera, but I think it's easier and it gets the job done easier through a medium format digital camera like this one. The last point I will make is if you want to learn more about this camera, if you want me to actually go deeper into the specs, this was just kind of an overview, first thought around the camera, please ask your questions down below. I will actually do a Q&A section on this camera because I do think that there's a lot of questions around it. So I will do a live session maybe on YouTube. If you're down for that, give me a thumbs up. If you like the content you're seeing, please consider subscribing, and also ping me on Twitter, because I think with Instagram not being a sharing photo app, I'm spending more time on Twitter, and I'm considering going back to Flickr. Should I continue going on Instagram? I don't know. You guys tell me. This is the purpose of the community here. But I've been Fred Ranger. Please enjoy life, be happy, and enjoy your medium format camera. Cheers.